We all have too many lenses, so I set out to challenge myself by taking one lens per week and using it. Why I decided to do this experiment is I was given a box of old vintage lenses, from fixed primes to old zooms and telephotos. So in the process of elimination, I decided I would set out with this challenge where I take one lens per week. I shoot everything with it, from landscape, portrait, my dog. One caveat being that I do shoot gym videos for my other channel, and therefore I have to have an ultra wide autofocus lens. So besides for that work purpose of shooting gym videos, I'll be using a lens that I choose for the week. In fact, this video is being shot on the lens that I have chosen for this week. So the first lens is going to be a Super Takumar 50mm, but not the 1.4 popular one like everybody else. That's for a later time. This is the f4.0 macro lens. This one caught my eye first in the box of lenses, as I've been taking quite an interest in macro. Although I don't have a macro lens itself, I've been using these extension tubes on my current lenses, and although it's been very successful and I've gotten quite a lot of footage, it does come with its challenges. So although this is a macro lens, I'll be shooting everything on it. It is a bit of a slower lens that I'm used to at an f4 wide open. I do believe from the short little videos I've watched online that it is quite sharp even wide open, and the fact that it can focus so close means that you can actually use it as a portrait lens and still get a bit of background blur or bokeh. Anyway, I'll have to switch over to a different lens so that I can actually show you what the lens looks like. But from then on, I'll be taking all my photos and videos for the rest of the week. I hope you enjoy this challenge. Perhaps you can join in, share with me what you guys have taken for the week. It's a good way for me to also find my focal length, as I am still quite new to this hobby and I'm not quite sure what focal length does resonate with me. So it'll be a fun challenge for me to not only use a manual focus vintage lens, but also in some cases be stuck to a certain focal length. And I'll just have to be able to use my feet to be able to get a good composition, either get closer or further away. Hoping this will be a fun little series that we can start. It'll also help me document this massive box of lenses that I have and to actually learn a little bit about them. So here we go, on to the first one. So before we get around to looking at the lens, I thought I'd show you the two different types of adapters that I'll be using on it. One is a Viltrox speed booster. This is a glass element in it. This allows for a 1.1 times crop factor and allows one extra stop of light in it. To be able to use this speed booster, I have a M42 to EF adapter. So it's just the basic little ring that screws onto the M42, and then that allows me to mount it onto the EF adapter. The other mount that I have is just the M42 to EOS M adapter. It has no glass elements, and this allows for a 1.6 times crop factor. All right, and onto the lens. This is as I got it. Appears to be all original caps. Got a very, very deep inside. Lens appears to be relatively clean, maybe a smudge mark, but we'll clean it up now. Overall, the lens seems to be in pretty good condition. So just quickly off screen, I noticed that the lens wasn't focusing to infinity because the focus ring had slipped a little bit. So all I had to do was loosen that, and those three little small screws. I just did a quarter turn, and then I was able to bring the focus ring all the way to infinity and then just retighten them with a quarter turn, and now it seems to be focusing as it intended to.
Aperture blades work fine. No oil or grease on them from my naked eye. Cool, let's give this guy a quick little clean. Now going to spray a safe solution to be able to just clean any grease or oil dust that's on the lens. I use 2 different microfiber cloths. One's going to be used for cleaning the body, and the other one for the lens element, which is a brand new, fresh, clean one. Just to make sure there's no dust, oil, or particles on there that can scratch the lens element. Nice and clean, nice and shiny. Overall lens, I would say, is pretty good nick. Over here, I'd say it was probably a small drop. But generally, I'd say this lens is very good condition. Let's clean the lens elements. Here we go. Overall, it's as clean as it's pretty much going to get. Let's put it on, see what it looks like. And then we'll just give the box a quick little wipe down. Alright, so to begin with, I'm going to start with a speed booster just so that I can get the 50mm or at least full frame focal length equivalent. I'll start there and then I'll use the other adapter as I want to shoot some things with a slightly tighter crop. Alright, here's my Canon M6 Mark II with a DC-1 viewfinder. And I think that looks pretty nifty. Alright, let's get out there and shoot some pictures and videos.
Overall, I am extremely happy with this little lens. It pleasantly surprised me with its image quality, even wide open at f4.0, even using a Voltrox speed booster. I really enjoyed using the manual controls, the aperture and the manual focus. It really, like I said to someone, it makes me feel like I'm creating art, not just pushing a shutter button. I'm almost spite that I chose this one first, as the bar has been set quite high for usability and image quality that this lens has provided, especially since it is a macro lens. I was able to get some really nice close detailed shots, which I assume I'm not going to be able to get from the other vintage lenses. Anyway, I'm not sure what price you can pick these up from, as I haven't actually seen them for sale in my country before. I was just fortunate enough to have been gifted this entire box of lenses. But if you guys are interested in macro or this focal length resonates with you, I really would recommend maybe picking it up if you can get a good price for it. Its image quality is awesome. its focusing distance is nice and close or close enough to get some really nice detailed shots on, especially if you do have the 1x6 crop factor adapter. I gotta make dinner, so I might as well document that. I don't have a fancy GoPro, but I can at least narrate for you guys what's happening. First challenge is using manual focus, but luckily with this focus peaking, it's actually quite useful, and I can also just punch in if I really need to. So I'm using standard video profile. I'll also on auto white balance. I am using the focal reducer, so a 1.1 times crop factor, wide open at f4. We are now on the regular mount, so the non-speed booster, just 1.6 times crop factor. You can see it's a bit more of a punched in view, and because there's no extra glass, it should be a slightly higher image quality. So although I enjoy the 50mm focal length, it's generally quite hard to get a close-up focus when trying to take detailed shots. With this macro lens, you'll have no problem. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the first video in a series that's upcoming. So from next week, I will choose a different lens and I will see you guys again. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.